All right, you guys, empowered leaders, welcome. Let me go ahead and change this view up here really quickly. Okay, so we are so excited. Like, there's not even a word for it for how we all are feeling about coming back from this event. I'm going to try really hard to sound coherent. There is some vocal issues going on. I think it's lack of sleep and all the excitement that I experienced. So please just bear with me. But we have so many amazing nuggets to share with you guys tonight, and a really cool thing that we're going to do with our team. So first, I want to talk a little bit about, actually, Cindy, I'm going to have you do recognition first, if you don't mind. Let me go ahead and unmute you. And then
I'm unmuted.
Oh, perfect. All right. So Cindy, yeah, if you could share, we have some really, I know everyone does a really good job of doing recognition for their own people within the group, but we have some special people we want to recognize, and Cindy has some amazing things she wants to share about them. So Cindy, take it away.
Okay. Well, guys, I'm super excited to be on tonight's call with everybody, and I wish so much that each one of you could have been with us in Vancouver, because it was phenomenal, and we're going to have a great call tonight. But I really want to just kind of highlight a few special people. And the first person is Amy Hill-Harshman. Amy is an amazing leader on this team. She works so hard and consistently, day in, day out, to just give her best always to everybody that's in her life. And we love you, Amy. And Amy, every single time they do a crystal reset, she nails all of her goals. And she just hit Crystal Director. So good job, Amy.
Yeah, Amy.
So awesome. And also, we also had Carity hit Crystal Director like 2 weeks ago. Good job, Chris. Carity, good job. I say it wrong. Okay, and then Ryan Harmon, and I don't know if Ryan's on the call tonight or not, but Ryan nailed Crystal Director in like 2.5 weeks of being with Isogenics, which is great. Ryan, congrats to you. Good job. And then we had a Crystal Executive this week too, and this woman is amazing. She is so talented and incredible. She comes to Isogenics. She's got a great background in business, amazing skills, and she is taking all that passion and pouring it into a brand new opportunity. So we want to celebrate you, Amber O'Hare. Congratulations to you for hitting Crystal.
Thank you.
Great job. So all of you sincerely. And guys, remember, this Friday, May 13th, is the deadline for Crystal Director. Even if you don't hit the crystal, we definitely want you going to Director. So don't slow down. Keep your focus and drive hard towards that goal. But do it this week and net yourself an extra $750 or $1,150 as you hit that goal. And go Crystal Director. So Michael and I are running for it too. In our reentry, we'd like to do it right alongside of you guys. So if anybody needs help, reach out. Let's do some 3-way calls and let's get that goal nailed. Okay. So good job, everybody. Great job.
Awesome. Good job, you guys. Okay, so when we jump into this call, one of the things that Cindy and I have been talking about is we're going to launch a new team contest. And so starting this week, and it's going to be 6, probably close to 7 weeks running, but each week is going to be its own individual contest. And I'm going to give you more details towards the end of the call about what all that's going to look like. But I just want you to just know that that's coming. And it actually is going to start this week. So we'll give you more details about that at the end of the call. So to jump right into the topic tonight, 20 of us just got back from University in Action in Vancouver, Canada. So I've been bragging all week and all weekend that I've been abroad for the last 3 days, even though it's Canada. But still so exciting because University in Action is the event that focuses the most on mindset and building your belief, which is something everybody needs more of and needs to become stronger in every single day. So if you have not yet been to University in Action, this is the missing piece. Hands down, what David Wood does with that room of people is unreal. And so we're going to have some people who represented our empowered leaders at this event share what transformed them, because there is not a single person that was in that room who is the same today that they were 4 days ago. So people who represented us, our empowered leaders, are on this call, and they're going to be sharing with you what was it exactly that transformed them. What were some of those defining moments and takeaways? And then we're going to have a few people share their really powerful 30-second stories around the event. So first, I want to do some recognition of our team. I want you guys to really understand how we brought it, because as we were sitting there for 2.5 days, Cindy and I are convinced that our team was the most active of any group of people there. I mean, it was, I feel like every hour, somebody from our team was interacting one-on-one with David Wood or on stage, or I mean, just a million things. It was so incredible. So the first thing, I want to recognize our team who represented our group, added value to the event by raising their hands to contribute when David goes around and he gets feedback from the audience on certain things that they're covering. And we had a lot of people raise their hands, and he called on them. Like, he was attracted to their energy, and he had them speak about what meant something to them. And so specifically, I want to give a shout out to Linda and Hannah, Deb, Amanda, Molly, Della, Lori, and Sarah for all raising their hand and contributing to the event and giving their feedback to help the event go along. And then we also had some people who had some really massive stage presence, which was really cool. And so I want to give a shout out to Amanda. I'm going to share Amanda's experience a little bit more in a minute. Della, Cindy, Shauna, Jacqueline, Lori, and Molly, all for being on stage and just completely just showing what we're made of and what kind of experience they want to have and what kind of success they want to have by really stepping out of their comfort zone. And then they also recognized everyone who rank advanced in the last 30 days. And so those people were Carity, Jacqueline, Della, Deb, Molly, and Hannah. For all going up, they were able to hug a millionaire, as many as they wanted to, and they got a certificate, which was cool. And then we even had some team time, and there were quite a few people who had some breakthroughs during that team time. And so I want to give a special shout out to Calvin and Tammy and Amanda for really stepping up during team time and having those breakthrough moments. So thank you guys so much for that. Real quick, let me just mute everybody again because we're getting over noise. Can you guys please just mute your lines before we continue? If you unmuted yourselves, because we're getting a lot of background noise on the recording. Okay, so like I said, these people are completely different now than they were before. And so they're equipped in a completely new way, and they're here to share that with you. And so the first person that I would love to share is Miss Molly Trotter. Molly, are you with us? Let me see if it'll let me unmute her. Okay, well, I'm going to move on, Molly, but when you get yourself unmuted, let me know. In fact, maybe what I'll do, you guys, is first I'll go ahead and share, and then I'm going to call other people in to go ahead and share too. But one of my biggest takeaways was just that the foundation for all of this was that David really drove it home that we need to sink into ourselves. They kept talking about sink into you because that's what people really want to be a part of. And so if you're feeling uncertain about anything in your business, it's time to jump into growth and action. It doesn't matter what it is. If you're feeling uncertain about anything or you're feeling stagnant about anything, jump into growth and action. And during that 2.5 days, he spent maybe a couple of hours actually talking about the company and the industry and some of those, like we talked a lot about skills and whatnot, but the rest of the event was about mindset and belief in yourself. And I thought that was a major clue, because how much time are we spending investing in ourselves and making ourselves better so that we can be more and more successful in this industry? And yes, building the skills are super important. And that was the other piece of this event. I would say outside of the couple of hours he spent on company and industry and all that, it was about 50% actually digging in, building those skills, like your story. And then the other 50% was really about mindset and belief, which was so crucial. And then one of the things that I really loved that I'm going to continue to pour into my team is that if you're not building to events, you're not really building. Events are the highest paying activity for your business. And that is so incredibly true. We had about 11 people from our little team there, and it was so amazing to watch each and every one of them. In fact, all but 2 of them had this was their first University in Action. Some of them their very first event. And I just saw it. You could see it in their faces every single hour. They were learning something new, developing into new people, and it was transforming. And you're going to hear from some of them today. And so I'd like to share with you my 30-second story about the University in Action. So before University in Action, I was feeling uncertain, how I was going to best serve my team, uncertain if I was capable of helping them achieve their dreams, uncertain if my extended family would understand why I was going because I had to miss my cousin's college graduation to attend. But because of so many people from our amazing team saying yes and figuring the rest out later, I committed to going as well. I now believe that I am not capable of leading these beautiful people on my own, and I'm so grateful to rely on this company and top trainers like David Wood to lead us all. And I also believe that my family needs me to go first and be willing to do the hard things so they can do the same when the time is right for them. And now I know that we can all be successful because of what we experienced at University in Action. So that was my big takeaway. That was a huge part of what transformed me. And so we have quite a few people who were there who are excited to share their defining moments and what were some of those just key things that they took away. And so the first person I would love to share would be Lori. Lori, can you go ahead and unmute yourself?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, go for it.
So this was my first University in Action and the final of the core 4 events for me to attend. So I would say that University in Action is probably my favorite event just because it was so incredibly powerful. I just basically have a list of bullet points that were my takeaways. And a lot of it has to do with the choices that we make. So one of the things that he talked about is the world that I live in is my responsibility. It's a choice. It's a choice for me to make how I present myself to the world. And that goes along with my energy. What energy am I presenting to the world? Being aware of my energy and how I'm showing up in people's lives and what value that I can add to someone else. And I think that goes with what you said, Rachel, about being in sync with who you are. One of the things that I kind of realized was that for the longest time, I've felt like there was something missing, or there was this heaviness or weight, or I was anxious a lot, or just things would bother me easily. And I realized it's because I was not living in integrity with who I am. I was holding myself back from being who God created me to be. He talked about everyone is waiting for someone to go first. And I wanted to. There were times when I wanted to say hello to somebody somewhere, or I wanted to compliment somebody about something, or just reach out to somebody. And I held myself back because I was unsure or whatever. And I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to go ahead and I don't care what people think. For crying out loud, people need a smile. They need you to go first. They need somebody to show up in their lives and have good energy and make them feel good about whatever. So all of that is like focusing on the positive. And again, it's a choice. It's how we decide to show up in the world. The other thing is basically Isagenix is a personal growth journey with a compensation plan attached. So you're totally right, Rachel, about digging in and really focusing on growing ourselves personally so that we can be the person to reach out to someone and grow our businesses. But it really does start with who we are and living integrity with who we are and actually having positive energy and making those positive choices. That's kind of what I learned.
I love it. Lori, that was perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that. And you guys, as you're hearing these people share, I only gave them 2 minutes. But how powerful was that? In less than 2 minutes, Lori, I mean, for those of you who have been along on Lori's journey, how she's so different even today. Like the energy, the confidence that she brings, that's what's so valuable about this event, is that her confidence level is through the roof. And so that's why this is so important. So Lori, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Okay, I would love to, let's see. Linda, are you with us? Linda, can you unmute?
Hey. All righty, I'm here.
Perfect, Linda.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you perfect. So, Linda,
Okay.
in just a few minutes, can you go ahead and share what were some of those defining moments that really made this event special for you?
I think I've been, working on a lot of personal development, and so his focusing on facing your fears, having courage, about not being good enough, because those are issues that I've been dealing with, and I feel a lot stronger in those areas now, because he kept the repetition throughout the whole 3 days was really phenomenal. I thought he really brought cohesiveness and repetition, bringing those things in. And I thought also having him show where everybody started and putting that, filling out, well, my first paycheck was $10, or something like that. And then all the conversations they had, that put a lot more reality to the process for me than just hearing how much people were making, or how many millionaires we have, because I can't relate to that, and so that really made an impact, being able to see them, because I'm a visual person. And so that was really important. I just, comparing myself to others has been an issue for me. I liked focusing on not making it complicated, because I like to be on top of everything. And so this helped put some more structure to it for me. I don't know about anybody else, but I just had such a good time too, also with the team. I felt more a part of it this time around. And I felt that this event was the best one for me the events that I've been to, that this one was by far the best and had the most impact on changes for me. And I really appreciated that. I like the phrases, every master is a disaster. And and like I said, the mindset, that was really important, because I think so many of us deal with mindset issues and how to outwit the brain, in getting to a better place. And all of that was really helpful for me. And I wanted to thank you, Rachel, too, for leading the charge. You were awesome, I think, and I felt you did a really awesome job. So,
I appreciate you, Linda. Linda is just saying that because she had to share a bed with me, but
yeah.
I appreciate your perspective so much, and I think that's so true, because Linda has been to this event before, but do you see how this has changed, like her experience going with a team? That's another reason. So it's not necessarily that, like, going to events is super important. Who you bring with you just amplifies that. It just makes it so much bigger and brighter for yourself. So I really appreciate that. Okay, so, and I'm not sure if I can mute you again, Linda, so if you could mute yourself. I've got some weird going on.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the next person I would love to have share, let's go ahead and bring on, let's see, Della, are you in a good place to pause your activities? They've got farm living going on over there, so Della's got to make sure. Can you unmute yourself, Della?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Perfect. So Della, Della is one of the people that I asked to develop a 30-second story around her experience at University in Action. So Della, if you could share that, but also take some time to share specifically like some defining moments. And I'm hoping you share one specifically that was about 15 minutes long, that was super special for all of us to be a part of. So Della, please go ahead and share with us.
All right. I'll start with my 30-second story real quick. Anyways, I'm sorry for all the animals.
They're getting put away for the night,
real
so
life,
they're being herded at the moment.
Yeah, they're getting herded to the barn. So let me just have a second while they pass by. Goose crossing, no big deal.
Della,
Right.
I love the flavor that you and your mom are bringing to the team farm tonight. That is spectacular.
Thank you. All right. So before University in Action, I was discouraged and overwhelmed. I didn't have unshakable belief in myself. I was afraid of people saying no, and I wasn't really being myself out of fear of what people would think. My amazing friend Rachel stressed how important events were, so as soon as I got my tax return, I registered for 3 events and said I would figure the rest out later. I just got back from UIA, and I'm not the same person I was before this event. I now have confidence in myself to use my tools and rock this business. I'm not afraid of no's anymore, because every no gets me closer to a yes. I now feel like this is where I belong. I can finally be who I truly am and not be afraid of what people will think. Now, I have to share this with the rest of my boss babes and boss bros, because I would be selfish if I did not share what a blessing and uplifting experience this was.
I love that. Della. And I think you got muted again, Della, so please unmute yourself. But Della, that was an amazing 30-second story. I love that.
Thank you.
Go ahead and continue sharing with your defining moments and takeaways from the event, because Della had quite the happening.
Thank you. One of my biggest takeaways was it was a lot more personal growth. Like, yes, I got a lot of knowledge about the business and more belief, but really what I was struggling with was myself and my self-doubt, or how people would portray me, as you saw in my story. And the biggest thing for me was, my whole life I've been told, you're too loud, you need to calm down, you need to be quiet, you're inappropriate, you're not funny, you're weird, why don't you just go sit over in your own sandbox? All these weird things, that I wasn't good enough, I wasn't professional enough. And being in the military did good things for me, but the military also beat me down and made me conform, and I lost my individuality, I lost my spunk and my craziness. I feel like there was that little girl is inside my head, kind of in a corner, waiting for me to reach out and tell her, it's okay, you can come out now. And that's what this event did for me. It made me realize that it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. I finally found a place where I can be myself and love people and be crazy and be weird and be as loud as I want, because who cares? Can't handle it? Walk away. You know what I mean? Like, what are you gonna do? Fire me? No. Rachel would never fire me. Cindy would never fire me. You guys love me. So Crazy Della's here. I don't care. As you saw, like, my chicken feet was so inappropriate. Like, didn't even consider that there might be people who would not appreciate that. Anyways, so that was the big takeaway, was it's okay to be myself, because people are going to love me no matter what. And I deserve to be loved for my weirdness and craziness. Absolutely. And the most impactful part was when David asked for a volunteer. I didn't raise my hand very many times to volunteer, because, you know, let other people have time. I've already been on the stage a couple times, like, let other people have a chance type of a thing. And so this time, for whatever reason, I raised my hand. And normally he was pretty quick to choose people, but this time he took his time. He was looking with intention. And, like, there's even this one lady who's like, me, like, she stood on her chair, and he's like, I get it, I totally get it, but I'm looking for something specific. And I almost put my hand down, because I was like, he's not looking for me. I'm not that specific person that he wants, because he was looking for a specific vibe or whatever. But I was like, no, don't make that decision. I'm making a story. Keep your hand in the air, spaz. And so I even leaned forward a little bit so I could see him, and I smiled at him. Just like, I'm here. And he like looked over the crowd one more time, and he picked me. And the girl next to me jumped up and was like, oh, me? And he's like, no, her. Like, he was intentionally picking me. And I was just like, he picked me. I never get picked for anything. So I was just a little giddy girl inside. But I had no idea what he was about to do. He didn't destroy me, but he destroyed me. He was using me as an example of how to ask people what their dreams and their goals are and about their story. And he gave me the question, if you had a magic wand and you could just wave it and you could have anything you wanted, do anything you wanted, time and money was not an issue, what would you do? Where would you be? And he spent the next 15 minutes going into my story. And, like, I told him about my husband, and he asked me details. And every time I told him something, he would repeat it back. Like, oh, so your husband is gone. Where is he? What is he doing? I'd answer, oh, really? So you're worried about time and X, Y, and Z. And then he'd say, what else? He wants me to go further. So I would give him more. And then he'd ask me details and get the specifics. And then what next? And he did that 4 times. And he could have kept going. And he said he could keep going. And, you know, he could dive into each of those even more and figure out, I don't remember what exactly he said, so I'll skip it. But either way, point is that I was crying with emotion because he was asking me what I wanted in life. I want my husband to come home. I want to see my mom whenever the heck I want. Like, that beautiful woman right there is my mommy, and I miss her, and I hate that I don't get to be with her every day, and that when I get pregnant, she's not going to be with me every day. So I can ask her my questions. She's my best friend. And it was just so inspiring that somebody I didn't even know, even though he was using me as an example, he cared, and he asked, and he was so kind. And that when I feel things, I feel them very hard, very deep. And when I do feel something very, very emotional, I shake. Like, it just happens because I feel with everything I have. And so I was vibrating, like my voice was shaking, my whole body was shaking, like it kind of looked like I had an issue. But that was so special. I couldn't stop thinking about that. Like, afterwards, I was so emotionally depleted. I had a hard time concentrating, but that was a perfect example of what I need to do for other people, how I can care for other people. He taught me how to dig better so I can serve better. And it was wonderful.
I love that. Della, thank you so much for sharing that. You guys, I can't even put into words what it was like to witness that, because he didn't say what he was looking for. He didn't say what was about to happen. He just all of a sudden said, okay, I need a volunteer. And he took minutes to pick this person and scan the crowd a few times, just like Della said. So when he picked somebody and we all saw it was Della, we were like, oh my God, what's he going to make her do? But we have it videotaped. And Della, with your permission, I would love to figure out a way to put that in Empowered to Lead so people can see that process, but also experience that with you if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I would also, I know that, I just blanked.
That's okay. We'll come back to you, Della, because we got to move on to the next person. But when you think of it, write it down, okay?
Well, I'm trying to think of her name, but I just lost her name. But she sent it in the message on Facebook, and it's not the whole video. Like, it says 7 minutes, but it only plays like 26 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, Molly has that. So I'll work on that. Yeah, I'll work on that.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Okay, so go ahead, Della, if you can mute yourself for me, that would be awesome. And then I would love to have Carity. Carity, are you in a good place to share with Mr. Cameron? Go ahead and unmute yourself, Carity. Yeah, sorry, I can't unmute you on my end anymore.
Okay, yes. Let me put Cameron down, and I'm gonna go where the kids won't distract me. Just 1 second. Brandon's not home right now, so.
No problem. See, you guys, real life. Mamas can do this with or without help.
I have to hide, okay? All right. Oh, I have some nuggets. It's not rocket science, you guys. So it was awesome, so awesome. The experience was really great. So I guess I just want to share a couple things, and oh geez. What was so cool is that in life, there's an event that happens and there's a story that is created. You know, you create your own story, and it can either make something a problem, or it can make something not a problem. The story is how you respond to a situation or an event. So an event plus no story equals no problem. An event plus a story equals a problem. You're in control. And so I think this is great in business, but this is great in life, which is why I was like, I learned a lot about how to run my Isogenics business, but I learned a lot about life, how to parent, how to interact with my husband and other humans. And so that's just one thing that I kind of took away. And so I can give you a quick example if that's okay. The example that David shared was he was in a car accident. Someone hit him and his family. They were injured, but he got out of the car. And the story, he asked the other gentleman who hit him if he was okay. And kind of made the other guy just feel okay with what had happened, even though they were hurt. They were really hurt. And so the way that he made the story made the event no problem, because he just responded in a way that opposite of what others would expect. It's very common for someone to get very upset when they get hit, and that creates a problem. So that's one example. The other example, or just other thing I would love to share, is that there's 3 steps to network marketing. 1, find people. 2, talk to people. 3, duplicate steps 1 and 2. So when you're talking to people, find common ground. The way to do that is get out of your comfort zone. So you need to step into fear, apprehension, doubt, and uncertainty, and then find that common ground. So there's a formula for that. Talk to people, ask them questions, ask them about their family, ask them about what they do for work, occupation, ask them what they do for recreation, and ask them what motivates them, what are their dreams, what are their goals. So FORM, F-O-R-M, is the acronym that you can keep in your back pocket when you're out and about trying to connect with people. Find the common ground, build rapport, go from there. Don't let your introduction be your presentation. And so it's really basic what we're doing. We're making friends. I think that's what I've got.
That's awesome, Carity. I love that. Yeah, in that story that David Wood shared about the car accident, he gave the guy a hug.
Yeah.
If you spend 5 seconds with David Wood, you won't be surprised by that, because he just hugs everyone and grunts at them when he hugs them. But yeah, he got out, asked the guy if he was okay, and when he's like, yeah, I'm so sorry. He's like trying to light a cigarette, and he's like, I'm so sorry, like it was my fault. And David Wood's like, hey man, it's okay. Like, gave him a big hug, and the guy was like, what just happened? Because he chose how the outcome would be based on the event. And that's so powerful, Carity. I'm glad you shared that.
Thank you.
Okay, so go ahead, Carity, when you get a chance, go ahead and mute yourself. Okay, so I'm gonna have, again, just a couple minutes. I'm gonna have Deb share, and then Molly, if you're able to unmute yourself, just because I don't see you on my screen anymore, I would love for you to share your 30-second story. And then I've asked Sarah to give a couple nuggets too. So Deb, we'll start with you, and then I'll go to Sarah, give Molly some time to, if she can hop on, and if not, then we'll jump right into closing. So Deb, go ahead and unmute yourself, and just in a couple minutes.
Why is it telling that I'm on?
What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Molly. It's working, yeah?
Oh, great. Okay, good. Molly, so I'm going to have Deb share, Molly, and then I'll call you in just a minute.
Okay, bye.
Awesome.
Yeah, bye.
Okay. Well, hey, so yeah, I can share really quick. It was a wonderful weekend. I think what it was so funny. Carrie, I'm totally on board with you. I was going to show that event plus story equals a problem. Event plus no story equals no problem. And just in the last 24 hours, that made a huge difference for me, just in my family. And so just made like huge differences in how we had a conversation last night. So, but beyond that, I really loved working hard on our 30-second story. You know, for Isogenics, I was, insecure in my body, and then 3 ways that made me feel and how that affected me. And then I was introduced by Rachel. And since then I have been, I have been, and then you filled it in the dots there. And like, what did I say? I'm trying to remember. Anyway, it's just working on our 30-second story. And then as a result, I'm now, and you talk about it, and being that I've only been in Isogenics for like 3.5 weeks, I had to kind of project my future, but it was really cool. And we went over it a lot, didn't we, you guys? I mean, we spent a lot of hours on that, and that was really cool. And just, I don't think in my 10 years of network marketing that I've ever gone through my 30-second story that like in depth. And that was really cool, because I think that'll have a huge impact on how short I can keep my conversations, which is a goal of mine. Yeah. And then the other thing I wanted to share, so that's really how I'm going to use that. I think that's going to be really powerful. And then what stood out to me that other people haven't said yet was do the common things uncommonly well. Mm-hmm. Just keep it simple and use the tools. So
absolutely,
that's what I got out of it.
I love that. Deb, I love that this was your first event too, like your first big event. and that this is how you got to start off your Isogenics business. Is really
I know.
such a
It was
blessing. I love
Yeah.
it. Okay, so I would love to have Sarah share, and then Molly, when I'll bring you on to do your 30-second story and your share. So Sarah, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Yeah, we can. Go ahead.
So I'm just going to kind of echo a lot of things that everybody said, because the big thing for me was what Carity and Deb just shared, is the event plus no story equals no problem. And, you know, all of these things that we're talking about that everyone has shared so beautifully on this call tonight already, talking about your mindset, talking about your energy being right, talking about, you know, not attaching a story to events in our life and our business and, you know, interactions that we have with people every day. These are all things that take a practice, and they're not going to happen overnight, because we're beings that are born into this world, and we, you know, as children we have, and David Wood like really emphasizes this about children and how they have absolutely no fear. And then as we grow up as adults, we learn to attach fear to things, you know, fear of what people think of us, fear of going first, fear of, you know, just what might happen, fear of failure, things like that. And so having to unlearn all of those things that we've been conditioned as adults, and having to put into practice, you know, being intentional every single day to be a blessing to others, and waking up every single day saying, how can I help other people? And how can I be of service to other people? And how can I be out there fishing for other people to join me on this journey, and that this is a gift that we have to offer the world. So just being really aware of that, and putting those practices into my daily life is really something that I'm going to learn, I think, from here on out, and in all those different aspects of how can I put into a practice every single day, and take the time to be intentional every single day in my interactions with people. Because really, ultimately, it's your energy that attracts people, and it's how you're being is what's going to attract people, not so much what you're saying to them. And so people feel that. And I can't remember which one of the trainers said it, but they said, or I think it was Carrie MacArthur said this. She said, people can feel your energy long before you even open your mouth. And so being aware of that energy all the time for me is huge, I think, is what I'm going to take forward here. And I think that's all I have.
Yeah, Sarah.
I mean, I have a lot more, but I agree with what everybody had shared before. This is the second time I've been to University in Action, and it was my first event that I went to last year. And I absolutely love this event. If I had to choose one event that I could go to every single year, it would be this one, because it truly was practicing. We were practicing and practicing and practicing, and pushing us into this. It was almost like practicing being uncomfortable all weekend long. And I absolutely love that. And David Wood does such a beautiful job pushing you into that discomfort, but creating it in such a safe environment, and then sending you on your way, just saying, just be a light to the world, because this is a really dark world that we live in, and we have a gift to offer people, to be a light to the world. And it's not even about the products that we offer, it's the culture that we offer in Isogenics, which is super rare.
Amen. I love that. I know, Sarah, everything you said was so on point. And you're right. We could sit here for 2.5 days and share everything that we learned. But what's awesome is that you all that didn't go or have not been to one yet, this is an event that we hope, like the purpose of this is that you hear these nuggets, that you get something from them, but that also you are planning to get to the very next University in Action, or some this year. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But Molly, I would love for you, Molly, to unmute and hop on and share your 30-second story and a couple of your takeaways.
Rachel, can you hear me?
Yeah, go for it.
Perfect. Sorry about that earlier. Didn't know how to unmute myself, apparently. So, yes, well, thank you, first of all, for even asking for me to share my story. So many of us got so many great takeaways, and everybody pretty much covered a lot of the good stuff. So such an awesome trip. Well, my 30-second story would be, before UIA, I was having a few reservations left on how I would find the right amount of inner strength to share my vision with others. And honestly, I'm so thankful. The reason I was actually able to go to UIA in Vancouver is because of Cindy and Michael Hedges. We're in the midst of transition right now, starting my own business, really blowing up Isogenics. Money has been pretty tight but both Cindy and Michael made that happen for me, and I'm so grateful. But now, since UIA, I now have the most unshakable belief in network marketing, our amazing company, and really what it's done for so many around the world, in knowing exactly now how I'm going to go about building my legacy. And I cannot wait to share that vision with others and have more conversations.
I love that. Molly, that was awesome. And please, yeah, I know you got to share, I know a lot of people shared a lot of things, but Molly, I would love to hear, like, what were some of the things that stood out to you, even if someone said it before, like, gosh, who was it that said that I think Linda said it, how he repeated, like, we were consistently going over the same things every day, and it was so powerful. So even if there were takeaways you had that other people shared, I'd love to hear your take on it.
Yeah, I think the one that stood out to me the most is everyone is always waiting for somebody else to go first.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so true. We have so many leaders in our business. And Rachel, you're a prime example. I'm calling you out. You are such a leader. And there were so many times I'd look over you at the event and people were watching you to see what you were doing. You demand that presence and you've built that rapport and people love you and they look to you. And so people need those people. Like even leaders are attracted to leaders. So honestly, yes. Everyone is always waiting for somebody else to go first. I want to be that first and just lead the way and just, plow through, which goes to my next thing is having more conversations and, going through and getting more no's. I know that sounds weird, you guys, but it's, what David Wood really broke down with some of the millionaires in the room, how many conversations they would have, but then how many no's they had. And it's just, you're going to get no's, and those no's are only going to pave the way for the yeses. And so you have to go out there, be excited about those no's. You're at least planting a seed, you're sharing it, you're going out and sharing it, and that has something to celebrate. And then the last thing that really helps me is the color code. Everybody knowing what color they are, and if you have not done the color code, go to www.colorcode.com, take the test, know if you're a red, yellow, white, or blue. And I'm a red, and a red is very, charge forward, aggressive, wants to get it done. But at the same time, it's really taught me how, as a red, to operate and how to communicate with people of a different color, of different personality traits, because once you understand others, you can communicate that much better. So it could just be a slight communication style difference, but you're going to connect to people who maybe are a little bit more timid than you, or maybe less aggressive, or maybe more aggressive, or, more emotional, less emotional, whatever that is. Once you take that test, you guys, and you understand really those traits of yourself and other people, you can communicate so much better. And it's, again, all it takes one conversation, in our business to start it, and then you just see it grow. So that's really been fruitful for me. So those were my takeaways.
I love that. Molly, thank you so much. That was awesome. Okay, so we want to close out this call, and we're going to talk more about the team contest. And so I'm going to give a few details on that, and then I'm going to hand it over to Cindy. And I'd love Cindy to wrap up the call and just share her experience as someone who's been to more events than all of us put together probably, but just how this event impacted her, how she saw it impact all the rest of us. But first, I want to give you all a few details on the contest so that I can have Cindy just go ahead and close the call out. So what we're going to be doing is, for the next probably 6 to 7 weeks, we're going to be doing a series based on the essentials. So when I trained last week, we went over 6 different essentials for you all to income producing activities, direct and indirect. And so every week we're going to focus on one of those, and we're going to give you all a challenge each week based on whatever was trained that week. And we have some guest trainers coming in the next few weeks, which we're really excited about. But we're going to be digging in with each one, with each skill or activity. And so when we launch those week-long challenges, there's going to be a winner at the end of each week. But then each one of those weeks, everyone is going to gain an entry. Everyone who participates is going to gain an entry for the grand prize. And so the grand prize will be at the very end. So you have the opportunity to win something every week, and then at the very end. And then let's see. Oh, so the point of this is we want each segment of this contest to be focused on developing your skills even further. And so just keep that in mind as we're training on these skills. There may be times where you'll be posting videos, or where you're going to be, reporting back to the group, or, adding value, or doing some sort of training yourself, or there's going to be a whole slew of things, and we'll get into more detail each week. We'll show you what that's going to look like. But the prizes. So what we're going to be doing is either each week or at the very end, the prizes are going to vary from cash, product, different personal development tools. And then at the very end, one of the grand prizes, we don't have them all figured out just yet, but one of the grand prizes is going to be 2 event tickets to a University in Action of your choice this year. That's a $500 value. Okay, so you want that prize, trust me, because a bunch of us are going to Chicago in October. And so that's one of the grand prizes that we'll be giving away in the next 6 to 7 weeks. Okay, so I would love to turn it over to Cindy, and Cindy's going to bring the call home, kind of wrap up the event, share her, because you guys, she's been going to these events for 11 years. And I know this one impacted her, and we've talked about it. So I'm excited for her to share with you and wrap up the call. So Cindy, take it away.
Thanks. Well, guys, I have loved hearing everybody's takeaways, and like Rachel said, I mean, in 11 years, you can imagine, Michael and I have been a part of a lot of events, and UIA is by far my favorite. It really is, for this exact reason, because we are in a skills-based business. You can learn the skills that you need to be as successful as you want to be and build yourself a $1 million business, or whatever level you're looking to do. You can do that here in Isagenix, and UIA is the perfect place to do it because you're in this environment where everybody wants you to win. Everybody wants you to be successful. Everybody's growing right alongside of you. And so there's no fear, and you can just step way outside your comfort zone, meet a bunch of new people, try a whole bunch of different things, fall flat on your face, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and start again. And really, guys, that's what it takes to build a successful business in this industry of network marketing. We are in the connection business. That's what we are doing. And every day you're having conversations. And at the end of the day, it really is all about how many times the Isagenix story has been told by you, by someone on your team, by a tool. That is the key. It's the conversations. And I have some takeaways I'm going to go through for sure, or just kind of wrap into what you guys said. But the thing for me personally was the piece that he did with the conversations. And I don't know that I totally had all my numbers exactly right, but if you can really understand, guys, that that's what we do. We're in the business of connecting. We're just out every single day having conversations, bringing the energy, bringing the passion. And just like Lori said, getting outside of ourselves. Don't let that voice in your head make you small. You have something amazing to share with people every single day that could potentially change their lives on so many different levels. And so even if it's something that you say something like, Lori, you know what? I don't know if this would be anything for you or not, but it is changing my life, and I would never want you to miss out. So I feel compelled. I want to share with you what I'm doing. Who's going to say no to that? I'm never going to know when I share like that. And that's genuinely from my heart. I say that to people. And I always said, like Gretchen would be, she'd hesitate to get on the phone and she'd be like, oh, I don't know. I'd be like, Gretch, what if Doris never shared Isagenix with us? Would you ever want to live without these products in your body? She'd be like, no, never. I said, would you ever want to live without the freedom that this opportunity has given our family? She's like, never, no. And I said, that's why you need to every single day step out of your comfort zone, step out of your comfort zone, get addicted, like Carrie MacArthur said, get addicted to feeling that rush of fear and doing it anyway, stepping out and just doing it. And then I wrote just some quick notes. What do we do, guys? What do we do with Isagenix? We educate people about products and services that can dramatically change their lives. That's what you're doing. You're out there sharing your story. You're out there sharing and educating people about products and services that have changed your life, products and an opportunity that have changed your life. And who are we? We're ordinary people that have the opportunity to earn an extraordinary income just by helping other people achieve their goals. That's what we do. We're hope dealers. We're out helping people get free and have hope and live a rich, full, amazing life. That's what this is all about. And what I love about UIA is it builds your belief in the company of Isagenix, in the products of Isagenix, in the compensation plan and how incredibly generous this opportunity is for everyone. And in the network marketing industry, it's an incredible industry. Go to work to educate yourself about it so that you have rock solid belief in the industry. And then in yourself, again, it's a personal development course with a compensation plan. That's what Isagenix is. And I'm gonna end on this. Mindset is everything. I put these notes down here. Mindset is everything. Guys, I want you to think about this. Just like in Isagenix, what do we do every single day? What do we teach people to do every single day? To feed their body superfood nutrition. With Isagenix, mindset is everything. As you're building this business, you need to feed your mind superfood nutrition. You need to discipline your mind just like you discipline your body. And when that voice starts to talk in your head and tell you something that you know is not true, that is not right, that is making you feel small, that is starting to create fear or rob you, you just have to stop. Take that thought captive, get it out of your head, and focus on what you know is true. Isagenix is an amazing company. There's no other company in the world like Isagenix. We have a gift to share with people that can change their lives. I'm going to get out there today on search and rescue, and I want to make a difference for other people. And don't make it about yourself. Make it about others, and you will see everything change in your business and in your life. It's a business of conversations. The people that have made the most money and continue to make the most money are the people that are talking to the most people. They're having a lot of conversations. And then they're circling back and talking to those people again and again, but always new people, always creating value, adding value to people's lives, and inviting them to take a look at what Isagenix has to offer. So I'm proud of every single one of you that went. And in October, there's another one in Chicago. And I say right now, let's all just make a plan. Everybody that was there, the 21 people that went with us, 20 people that went, I challenge each of you to grab 2 to 5 people. Let's triple our numbers. Let's take 100 people with us to Chicago. How fun would that be? Who's never been to Chicago? Chicago's a blast. I'm from Michigan. It's amazing. It's right on the water. It's beautiful. Let's go. It'll be incredible. And David will love. I took a bunch of notes. I'm going to share all of them with him, including you, Della. He picked me. I already texted him that. He loved it. He just texted me back. I just saw it on my thing. He's like, I love it. It's awesome. He's amazing. Yeah. So with that, I guess I'm wrapping the call. So it is 2 minutes from 7. If anybody wants to add one last comment, do it. And then we will wrap it up and see you guys online this week.
Okay, actually I do, because I forgot a part of the contest is that this week's challenge is that anybody who is currently registered for an event or gets registered for a Core 4 event, so that is a New Year's kickoff, celebration, or University in Action or ICU. If you are currently registered or get registered this week by Sunday at 9 p.m. Pacific time, you will be entered into the drawing for the grand prize at the end of our Essentials contest. So that would be for event tickets for University in Action. So, and send that. So if whatever confirmation you have, so like a screenshot or your confirmation email or whatever, forward that or send that to empowered2lead@gmail.com. So that's empowered2lead@gmail.com. empowered2lead@gmail.com.
And
okay,
so one last thing, guys. Every one of you should be registered for celebration, just like Rachel said, in truth. And I had the same revelation. I mean, guys, events are everything. Every 3 months, we need to be at a big event. That's why they do 4 events a year, the Core 4. Every 3 months, you want to be at a big event and get your team there. It's essential. That is what is going to build your business for you, explode your business, because you can train all day long. But when you take someone and they have their own experience within the Isagenix culture and they're learning something, it's invaluable. It would take you 6 months or more to train what we just got, what everybody just came home with this weekend in 2.5 days with David Wood. So make it a priority. You're not really building if you're not building to events. You've got to get your team to events. I know it's tough, but you know what? You've got to make an investment. Make that investment. It makes all the difference. It will pay you back in spades. So everybody needs to be registered for Celebration. But we're going to go to UIA in October too. That's 3 months later.
Awesome. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being on the call tonight. I'm going to go ahead and end the call verbally because I won't be able to end the recording without hanging up on all of you because I still need a new computer. So it's been awesome talking to you all. Get registered for those events. Send the confirmation to empoweredtolead@gmail.com so you can be entered for the grand prize for our team contest, and have a good rest of your night. Good night, everybody.